Hello everyone, my name is FlareBlitzed here, and we've returned back to the letter now. To hope or to not hope to allow us to make Isabel and our other friend feel better. Can we still fix this, or shall we stay silent? Of course we're going to go with a more positive route, although I would always pick the first one on top for my first time. And yes, our friendships have increased with both Isabel and Ashton. Good. It isn't too late. We can still fix this. There's 3 of us here. 4 if you count Rebecca. No, she's staying away from this. She lifts her gaze at me, eyes steady and shoulders squared as she holds it against the baffled look I give her. Although in the next second, it immediately softens, and it takes me by the surprise nonetheless. In those brief moments, it's like I faced a different person. I don't want to involve her in this any more than I already have. Both of you as well. I already said it. That's completely out of the question. Stop asking. Still and all, there's 2 extra heads who can do the thinking. Between us 3, I'm sure we'll figure something out pretty soon. Don't make this whole thing sound like it's a piece of cake to deal with. It isn't. But better than sitting around, yeah? A plan is still a plan. You're going to shoot yourself in the foot one day with that kind of thinking. We don't even know who is doing this. The last 2 murders might just be similar instances done by 2 different suspects. Has it stopped you from going after them before? Remember that time when you... Okay, stop right there. There'll be no retelling of that incident today, Z-Man. Or ever. Keep calling me Z-Man and maybe I will. Suddenly Isabel laughs. Though muffled by her hands, it rains lightly and easy against the thick tension in the room. Still a far cry from the usual cheer she carries, but brings a welcome shift in the otherwise dreary mood. Thanks, you 2. I'll tell you about it when he's not around. Give it up, Z-Man. She's not interested. Who says I'm not? Ash makes a face but chuckles at the gist despite himself. Why am I even friends with you 2? And like this, most of our worries ebb away, if only for a few moments. They take their leave mere minutes close to sundown, but regardless of the lighter mood, little has been said of their plans, only vague hints of what they are aiming to do after. While it is not any of my business to know, something about this whole thing still gnaws at me. A tiny passing thought urges me to do something as well. At this hour, the streets are once again busy with people heading home after a hard day's work. Little of the bustle matters to them as they step out the crowded walkway, however. Ash especially. There's only his goal in mind, and I'd wager there's nothing I can do to stop him at this point. He's probably decided on it long before they made the decision to drop by, but despite this, Isabella lags behind. A worried crease is back on her forehead as she watches Ash leave to get his car. Something wrong, Bella? No, actually... Can you check on Becky for me after this? I really didn't get the chance to tell her where I headed off to. Tell her I'm okay, and no. Just that's all. You sure I should skip on that part? If she finds out about this, she'll be angry. I don't really want to deal with angry Rebecca. It gives me a stomachache just thinking about it. Neither do I, but I will handle it if she gets mad. Just make sure she's safe and tell her to be careful. You too. Take care of yourself. Almost abruptly she pauses, the gaze in her eyes hardening as she lapses into another one of those long-distance silences from earlier. This is not just because of a whole... Okay, I can't pronounce that word with the letter anymore. I don't want to I don't know what happened to Rose to happen to you guys as well. This one cut deeper. Before I can ask about it, Ashton returns, casually swinging his car keys on one hand and gestures at Isabel. Come on, we don't have much time. Shirley's waiting. Who's Oh, right. Don't answer that. I don't want to hear, you huge dork. Says the person who gave her stuffed toys names. Batcat, really. It's cute. Yours is just weird. I'll see you later, Zach. She spares me another smile, and as I watch her walk off, only now did it occur to me that none of those she gave today ever did reach her eyes. I make a grab for the back of Ash's parka. He staggers briefly before correcting himself and shooting me a confused stare. Is she alright? Huh? What? Who's okay? Isabella, she's been, I don't know, out of it today? Did something happen earlier? The scroll of his face says it all. She's actually been like that since this morning. I'll ask, but just do me a favor and watch over her. We have no idea what we're dealing with. I don't know what happened to her since the last time I saw her, but from how she's been doing today, whatever it seems like a pretty big deal. Wait, you didn't annoy her again, did you? Because I swear to God if you did, you've got another thing coming for you. What? No, why would I? I'm just asking. I'll take your word for it. But if you can find out what's bothering her, that'd be nice. Honestly, I don't think it's the latter this time. Sorry. I'll see what I can do. And make sure you keep yourselves out of harm's way, alright? Yeah, you too. Don't do anything reckless again. Reckless? No, but I can't make you the promise I won't do anything. After seeing that, there's no way in hell I'm going to pretend there isn't a problem with it when there is. This is a really big one. And I'll be damned if I let anything happen to you guys while I sit here. I'm done running when things get tough. He's about to argue for a moment, but look bro, if things are not good, I'll be the first one out. But allow me this one thing, alright? Just this one time. If it doesn't work out, you'll be the first one to know. You can laugh, then, or berate me all you want. But please don't ask me to step aside like I'm incapable of doing anything to help. I have no idea if it is the look on my face or the tone of my voice. Ultimately, although his mouth presses into a thin line, he nods. Alright, stay safe, Zach. When he stumbles into the sidewalk, it allows the afternoon crowd to swallow him whole. I like to think the tiny gleam in his eyes is the closest we can get to optimism in the situation. Whether that alone will be enough to give me a peaceful sleep tonight remains to be said. Saturday the 29th. Upon returning to his apartment, Zachery was greeted by Ashton and Isabel. Now suspicious of what was happening, Ashton informed Zach that he and Isabella will try and get to the bottom of this. He also warned Zach to be careful. I wonder why in particular Ashton is very angry. Saving point, indeed. Remains to be said. October 30th. Night falls, and despite my best attempts, sleep continues to elude me. With her image still stuck in my head, flashing every few moments, it catches me off guard. With Mars' lullaby still echoing in my ears, no longer the soft tune it once was, and the terrible growling at the pit of my stomach, it's no wonder I can't bring myself to drift off even for a little while. It is not as if there's a complete lack of things to do while waiting for sleep to come, if it ever will. And at 2:45 in the morning, I found myself cleaning my photograph equipment for no other reason than just to pass time. Though if I'm going to be honest, it is not the night terrors that are keeping me wide awake tonight, but the anxiety and the hope I'll hear from Ash or Isabel soon. And for what perhaps the 42nd time, my eyes shift over to the end of the table where my phone lies still. I've not heard from them since they left. They haven't promised a phone call, of course, but a small part of me wishes they would have the common sense, at the very least. Waiting is a tough game, and with concerns stretching out for minutes far longer than usual, it's impossible for more unpleasant thoughts not to enter my mind. Moreover, it does not help that when the clock finally strikes 3, and that indeed, my hand stills. It'll be a complete and utter lie to say my heart didn't leap straight to my throat in that brief second. My whole body has gone motionless, ears straining for any further sounds. A couple of tense seconds pass. Nothing. Of course, with how old the building I'm staying in, power fluctuations are not anything new. Every now and then this would happen, leaving a few tenants in a rather bad mood. Nothing unusual anymore after a few years of living here, but this time, the sudden hush brings with it a stillness that raised the hair at the back of my neck, and set my heart beating hard against my chest. Something reeks in the air, and in an instant, this place is no longer home. It's a prison. Every rational fibre in my being screams at me to leave. I force myself to swallow and keep a clear head as I lie down all my cleaning tools, and begin gathering together the rest of my things scattered about on the table. The camera's body, lenses, filters, diffuser, phone, anything my hands could reach. But in the resulting panic, like in the nightmares, it is the scent that reaches me first, a foul, putrid smell filling my lungs with a heavy stink of death. My fingers clamp tightly to the camera, holding it closer to my body as if the tiny thing would provide enough protection to whatever is with me in the room. It won't, but it's the only comfortable thing I have. Hello? I know you're in here. What do you want? Something moves behind me. A small scuttering over the walls, followed by the squelch and painful creaking of what can only be rotten flesh and broken bones. Without hesitation, I'll whirl around, my fingers and camera ready, patiently waiting for another movement. Leave. Leave now. Feels like a point where I should save before anything bad might happen. There isn't a choice here. Yes, I want to oversave this particular save file. Let me just look at the branch tree to see if there's anything that might be coming up. Okay, so we've reached this point. Okay, there's no quick time events here. Cool. There's nothing here for you. There's a brief moment of silence after, and for a short while, I think my pleas worked. Then, with no warning, the shuffling resumes, and along with it are the sobs of a woman. Use mouse to look around, press spacebar to take a picture. Greetings! The light flashes fleetingly one last time. Allow me a glimpse of her grotesque, misshapen features before it is once again lost in the darkness. All of a sudden her tone changes. No longer a soft cry, but a high-pitched shriek brimming with pain, grief and anger. Every ounce of courage I've mustered flees from my body at the sound. And the next thing I know, my hand is gripping the knob, and I'm wrenching the door open. Her wails follow me as I flee into the night. Pacing has always been more of Ashton's theme than mine. When I want to think, I sit and let the minutes tick by until an idea comes to mind or my pulse settles down, and yet dried leaves and twigs crack under my shoes as I make another pass of them. Terror is too mild to describe what this is. There's no way in hell I'm going back. Whatever she is, pleading won't work. For the moment we saw that letter, she's been after us. But I can't. Not this time. Nearly 2 hours have gone by since I left the comfort of my room for the solitude of this park. 2 excruciating hours since I've started making calls. No one's answering. Not even Rebecca, who has always kept her phone line open in case other people need her. Or Isabel, who frequently checks hers for any messages and readily responds as soon as she can afford. It seems they're probably either in bed or too far out of reach to be able to respond. It does not help that Ash hasn't said a word where he went off to as well. Damn it. I knew I should have asked him before I let him leave. Knowing him, he could be anywhere. But there's really only one place he'll likely be at this time. At the mansion. The sun has already peaked over the horizon when I make it to the mansion. I have no idea what I'm expecting to see when I got here. There's Ashton. First and foremost, a part of me wishes my assumptions are correct and he's really somewhere close by on a stakeout. But I've never been the lucky sort when it comes to that kind of guessing. And even after I've made a round of the intermittent vicinity, I can find neither hide nor hair of him. And that's immediate, by the way, not intermittent. Calling him does no good either, considering how awful the signal here is. He can't be too far if he's really here, but if he is, he would have noticed. He would have already noticed me by now. There's 2 halves in there. Instead, there is only silence. The kind too quiet to find any sort of comfort in. Even the trees seem to have fallen asleep with the rest of the mansion. Excuse me. Obvious to what's happening around it. A small island of stillness in the otherwise fast-paced world. No wonder the whole of Alcium feels at odds with the rest of Luxborn. While the city is alive, growing every minute, breathing every second, and pulsating with life, the village remains unmoving, unchanged. It's not surprising the legend still lives up to its day, and why she's still here, walking its hollowed halls. And beyond me the mansion looms ominously. But now is not the time to fear. Even if Ash is not here, I still got to let the Wrights know what I've seen, what's in their home, and whatever grievous Ash has with them. Doesn't matter. There might be grounds for imprisonment, but they don't deserve a brutal death at the hands of one malicious spirit. And I'm sure Isabel would want the same thing. I head straight for the door without a second thought. It takes a few rings, the sound loud above the forbidding stillness, before I hear footsteps on the other side. Gordon Bennett, only a Nancy would knock at such an ungodly hour. Where is that damn butler when I need him? It must be Luke. Exactly. But why is it ominous behind him? Before long the door swings widely open, with Mr. Luke standing right behind it. Seething would be a complete understatement to describe him. Like this, I've got no doubt why Ash would find him suspect. You again? It's bloody 6 in the morning! What the hell is it now? Listen, sir, I know this is not a good time. Oh, it's not a good time. Did you even check the clock before coming here? I bet you didn't. Unlike you, the ones living in this house need to sleep. Come back when people are actually awake, or I'll call security on you. Before I could get a word in, he slams the door to my face and bolts it shut with much finality. Wait, sir, you've got to hear me out. You're both in danger if you stay in there. Have you seen the news lately? Everything's not a coincidence. Only silence answers me. Maybe if it was Mrs. Wright. Oh, who am I kidding? I've already seen the look on her face when I tried before. There were limits to how far a person will believe in you. Then again, I didn't believe Isabel when she warned us. And now I'm here, desperately trying to save people even if I'm aware it's completely out of my own capacity to do so. Is this what they call karma? If so, this is one horrible way of turning things around, taking people's lives, playing with people's fears, making them feel useless. You're around, aren't you? You're here, inside this house, listening, watching, or whatever it is that you spirits do. What do you want? You're already dead, leave us. Nothing. I don't even know who I'm talking to, or if the same person is supposed to be doing that. The only thing I got after is a feeling of foolishness washing over me. Or perhaps this is just me losing my mind. Out of other options and any other ideas, I'll let my hands slide off the door's surface and fall listlessly to my sides. I could go back to Luxbourne, trying to find the others, try to get out of this mess with them, or let them know how much in deep blank we all are. Both sound good. Either way, my loitering here are not helping at all. I let the quietness calm me for a few more minutes before standing up and heading out to fetch my bike. It's quite a distance to Luxbourne, but if I hurry, I'll reach it in maybe... The rustling stops as soon as I turn around and strain my eyes for any other movement around me. Yo, Ash, you there? No answer. If he is here, then I've just missed him earlier. Alright, really. My feet is moving in search of him for the second time. It won't hurt to double check, triple check even. With how big the property is, he can be anywhere. If things are not so urgent, if they aren't so dire that lives are at stake, I would probably have just waited for him to show up again. But damn it. He needs to realize what exactly it is he's dealing with. That it is not just a petty criminal he could simply throw in jail. That it is something beyond the authority his police badge can ever give him. The guy needs to stop playing the big damn hero, sit down, and chill. My breathing comes in short shadow rasps by the time I make it back to where I started. Still no sign of him, and I'm beginning to think I'm just wasting my time here. But that is when I hear it. I recognize the melody in a heartbeat. Ma's favourite song. I listen for a while, trying to gauge where exactly from the house it's coming from. My feet starts moving before I could stop them, and there, as I circle a corner, from a room in the first floor, a single window is open, but I can't make out whoever's inside. However, I'm sure the singing comes from there. Still, why I'll hear an old tune here of all places, I won't know. It's not an obscure song by all means, but it is pretty rare to find someone who knows this. And for some reason, death seems to follow this song around. This is in your mind, Zachery. Panic lodges itself at the base of my throat at once. Whoever's humming might be... I don't want to be the pessimist right now, but on the off chance that it is Miss Wright. Sheesh. I shouldn't just barge in there. I could put myself in danger before I can save anyone. Ash will tell me so in the exact same words. Might even write me a dissertation why that is a bad idea if he ain't so lazy. But damn it, damn it, damn it, god damn it. No, we'll keep outside of this mansion so that we do not get into trouble. Keep looking for Ash. Yeah, mind your own business, definitely. In the end, the rational part of my brain wins out. The half that has spent too much time around Ash. It's right, though, the reasonable part. If I do force my way in and find something unpleasant, how am I going to fight back with my camera? No matter where you look at it, that's simply asking for a painful death. I'd have a better idea if I find Ash. Where's he snooping around? Perhaps I should try the forest, make a round further into the gardens. Not a single plan, but it's better than nothing. The woman's soft sobs have subsided now by some means, although inaudible to the point where I'm wondering if I truly heard what I heard. I didn't get to dwell much on it, though, because right in the movement my phone rings. The sharp notes cutting, piercing through the thick quietude. Ash is calling me. I clamp a hand over it, pressing the button before the speakers are close to my ears. Are you? I only caught the tail end of a person greeting on the other side, but I know her voice well enough. What was that, Ash? Could you repeat that? Signal's annoyed here. I asked, where are you? Hell, Zach, I've been calling your number for a good 20 minutes now. What kind of blank did you get into? Good morning to you too. I should be asking you that question. I've been looking all over the mansion for you. I thought you'd be. What mansion? Do I really need to answer that? Why are you No, wait. Just get your ass here at Isabella's place and hurry. I shift my gaze into the mansion, specifically at the window I heard the cries from. There is nothing of it now. Not even echoes. How urgent is this? Pressing enough for you to stop answering questions and get yourself here. Please, Zach. This gives me a pause. It's a rare thing for him to take on that tone. I'll be there in a few. An hour or two tops. Thanks, I'll see you. I rush back to my bike as soon as the call ends. Is there anything behind you when you leave? A terrified Zachery went looking for Ashton in the Ermengarde Mansion, but to no avail. He also tried to warn Luke Wright about the spirit supposedly living in the house, but was simply turned away. As he was about to give up, he received an urgent call from Ashton, ordering him to head straight for residence. The font itself makes it difficult to read the text sometimes. I rush back to my bike as soon as the call ends. Without another look, I leave the mansion along with its haunting melodies and grim echoes behind. There are more important things than my own curiosity and impulses. Now we're on the perspective of the interior design woman. Profiles Marianne. Excellent. Just marvelous, if I say so myself. Branches. So we got all the way over to... there's another little bit here. Hang on. Keep looking for Ash. A third choice, but I only got 2 out of that. They both lead to the same path though, which is okay. This one goes along here, that one goes along there. I suppose both branches will lead towards Marianne's role being played out. Common route. 7:15 PM. The numbers are so little on the top of my screen, and they glare at me with such intensity that I can just hear their accusations. I'm late for a night out with the girls, yes, but I have a perfectly good excuse, jeez. Considering I don't follow typical office hours, they really don't expect me to be able to just go as I please at 5:30 on the dot. The client is, first and foremost, my priority. I have to sit tight when my personal assistant Chris tells me we have a big one coming up, and that I shouldn't miss this one. He knows a lot more on the who's who and the what's what when it comes to these solicitors. I don't know how to read that, and I trust that judgment call. I really don't have time for rich people, their drama, and their politics. These sort who were born with silver spoons in their mouths and who were used to wagging their silver tongues about. I'll let them handle the negotiating with them, for the most part. Why else would I have hired him? But he told me I received a message about it an hour ago. Now, if only he has the full shilling when it comes to the time. Come on, I have a social life too, you know, to an extent. Sort of. Pressing my head against the table, I try to stave off an oncoming headache when the notification of a new email pops up. All I'm expecting is, hey, this looks like a good project I found. Go send them a design, or something like that. Really. That's how it often goes. Even when these rich jammy clients who's heard of me from their equally rich jammy friends, I can't expect them to hire me right off the bat. Which is all well and good and reasonable. We figure what they want, send them my portfolio, my drafts for their projects, my rates, and hope for the best. This is a big client, Marianne. I'll babysit this person for you. Just please take this one project, I promise. This person is huge in Luxbourne. Mr. Parker, this is a formal request to secure the services of Marianne, last name I keep not knowing how to pronounce, hereinafter called the designer, and as authorized by Hannah Wright, hereinafter called the client for interior design work at Ermengarde Mansion, Luxbourne, LX18 0RF, United Kingdom. The client hopes to have the designer there on October 21st, Friday, with the time pending. But as I open the mail and see that I've been requested by the client specifically, well, I certainly didn't expect that. And it's pretty straightforward too. Anyone else would probably be excited. They would be working with the Hannah Wright. She's just one of those rich solicitors that everybody loves to talk about, no matter how hard I try to tune such nonsense out. It would have been enough for me to reply in affirmative to Chris and leave, but he has never pleaded for me to take a project before. We've worked with big personalities in the past, celebrities, bankers, and even a few politicians. My PA had been indifferent about those. So the question bounced around my skull before I spy one of those email attachments. A newspaper clipping from the Luxbourne's daily business news section, boasting the headline, Wright Enterprise donates 2.5 million to refugee. It certainly caused quite a stir back then. Apparently, they had invited businessmen and solicitors, I still don't know how to pronounce that, everywhere, in the guise of it being some big business announcement. 2.5 mil, an expensive looking party to boat. These people sure know how to throw their money around. Not that I should be so clueless. They're going to do a lot of good and help a community of people with all those powers. I, of all people, shouldn't criticize such acts whether they were for show or not. At the very least, I know they'll be able to pay my rates. With the headline out of the way, however, I find myself staring at a picture that come along with the clipping. I mean came, not common. Because wow, here I am, expecting a sour old woman in a blazer and skirt. But the woman that was plastered on the front page looks like she belongs on the front page of an entertainment section, or even, if I'm to be crass, as the pin-up for a glamour. Okay, I'll be real here, a men's magazine. She sure knows how to rock that dress. Wait, her hair, her eyes, her lips. She can't be her, and at the same time she is her, only several years older. She just looks like... No, come on, Mac. This world is full of pretty blondes. It's just a coincidence. With a shake of my head, I snap out of it and reach for my phone when it buzzes, nearly falling off my chair in the process. Okay. An email from the Wrights came, requesting Marianne expertise for their home. What seemed like an innocent commission made a different impact on the famous designer after seeing a picture of the Wright missus. Who else would be on the other line but the very people waiting for me? Oh, blank. I'm so sorry, Cam. I'm on my way. That's what I say. yet I still don't move from my chair, face flushed and heart racing. I could only stare until I can will myself to reply that yes, I'm accepting the assignment. And it takes even more time for me to just close the image, shut down the computer, and leave. Even then, it has already burned its image into my head, no matter how much I wish it would just disappear. It makes me eager for the alcohol and the company. It makes me eager for anything that can help me forget. It's a good thing that the nearest pub is just a hop, skip and a jump from here. The Gal, I don't know how to pronounce that, as it is called by those who frequented the place, is the only decent Irish pub in this country. You can pretty much tell that someone is new if they call it by its official name, the Cruel Bar. My home away from home ever since I moved to Luxbourne. Well, that is when I'm not cooped up in my condo and working away. It has good alcohol, good company, and, thank God and Saint Cassedia, good music. Crowd favourites like the Boofy Noise, the High Wesleyman, and Second Fusion Orchestra are often played. I don't know names sometimes. That doesn't mean I don't know the English language, it's just that certain words I find difficult to pronounce. We can't pronounce every single word in the English language, so I don't like comments that goes on about that. Anyways, not to mention the singing. I love singing. Anyone could just break out into a drinking song, and the others in the pub were just wonderful that they'd start singing along. And doing so while intoxicated is the best way to go about it. Hey, it's a win-win as long as I don't puke in the middle of the chorus, and as long as I can get home in one piece at the end of the day. And tonight is karaoke night. What better time than to try and sing all my worries away? That's when my intoxicated brain tells me. Sing the blues. The ghost of guilt and sorrow remembers who I am, and in the prison of my heart I was my only slave. But drinking only reminds me of my home, and the thought of home makes me think of her. But in the depths of my cold soul, I leave a burden and despair. It makes me nauseous. It sickens me that the smallest reminder of her can cause me such grief. I'll fight for what's worth fighting for. Forget the fear, forget the rest. 'Cause that might just be the booze. Any other day, I would have scolded myself for drinking so much. I lied to the Lord, I lied to myself, I lied to you and everyone I care until there was no more lies to tell. But I already have a client and we'll be having our first little meet and greet in a few days. Cowardness is easier than being brave, but at least I found a strength I lost to sing my love letter to you. 'Cause people can lie, but my lone heart beats true. I want to at least enjoy this night, get over the hangover tomorrow, and return to being a prime and proper professional afterwards. That song was for Cam, our lovely bride-to-be, so give her a hand. Don't know if that's his name. Considering the state I'm in, one can excuse my smug grin as cheers and applause reign amongst the pub's Patreons. Because, possibly off-key public scene aside, I feel like I'm on top of the world right now, and that's a good reason as any to belt out in front of those strangers. With good drinks and good friends, there's nowhere else I'd rather be tonight. And I forgot for a short while. And that song was brought to you by Marianne. Everyone, a round of applause. That was so good, you rock, Marianne. Oh, please stop, you're just saying that. You know, neither of us can hold a tune, Marianne. A toast to our shameless drunk Cena. May your drinks forever flow and your notes be forever lovely. If anyone deserves a toast tonight, that's Cam. Finally sealed the deal after 3 years. Read 'em and weep, blank sis. Camilla's diamond engagement ring gleams as she holds it up for all the world to see. She has the reasons to be proud. 3 years of living together and her boyfriend finally asked her the big question of marriage? Obviously she said yes. Don't get too attached to that ring or the other one, sweetie. I was wearing a wedding ring not so long ago and look at where I am. But enough of me being a downer. Cheers to the happy engagement. Of course, if something like Haruna's divorce were to happen, I'd be there for Cam, just as Cam have been there for me, acting more than just my yoga instructor. I can't be happier for my friend right now. Cheers. Cheers. Well, we both will be there for Cam, won't we, Haruna and I? Haruna. It's been a bad year for her ever since her divorce. She's such a nice person, even loaning me money to open a studio, and she doesn't deserve what her husband had pulled. I'm happy she's smiling again and pigging out like she used to. I think we've all missed our Japanese firecracker. We met in yoga class, something I had joined to keep myself in shape and well, honestly, so I could make friends when I had moved to Luxembourg. Clearly it works like a charm. And it definitely didn't have anything to do with the fact that I brought along my lucky D2O die with me on the first day. No sir. I love these girls so much. What about you, Marianne? You're 30 years old and still haven't got yourself a man. And you guys know I have a very busy schedule. I don't have time for that. Oh come on, that's a lame excuse and you know it. You need a man who will take care of you and you need it now. Maybe some hunk will be your house hubby while you making the tough dough. I'm quite capable of taking care of myself. Who needs a Mr. Wright? Hey, look at me. I'm Marianne, a lawful neutral cleric with 9 points in wisdom and 8 in charisma, but I can't get myself a date. I mentioned druids and demons once. They don't even know the rules or understand what the numbers mean, and I certainly am not some sort of holy person. I am a far cry from a miracle worker, and I barely have the willpower to fight off demons, especially my own. Actually, maybe she isn't looking for a Mr. Wright, but a Mrs. Wright. Oh my, Marianne, we still love you even if you're in the closet. That would explain some things. Haruna, you don't have a ring anymore. Maybe two can get together and I don't have to worry about my best girls being alone. What are you on about? But there's nothing to explain. But the more I deny, the louder they tease until the other people in the pub start to watch. It doesn't help at all when Haruna drapes her arm over my shoulder and leans in. Will I be all yours, Ben? Will you be making me feel like a woman? I know that we're just kidding around, but it doesn't make me comfortable in the slightest. So when Camilla notices my silence and Haruna sees the expression on my face, they stop. And when the awkward air settles over us, the rest of the pub goes back to whatever they were doing before the whole thing ever happened. They probably won't even remember it when they wake up with massive hangovers anyway. Sorry, me too. Hey, no hard feelings, right? I raise my glass. They smile. We drink. There's no need to say more. We're all definitely far too drunk tonight. Eventually the fun times end. It is a weekday after all. And with Haruna being a nurse, she still has to get ready for her next shift. Ham also has a loving fiance waiting for her at home. And really didn't have to make a fuss about having left some buns in the oven when she took off early. Really understand that. I was one who insisted, who was determined to get drunk anyways. Moving to the bar, I sit. Alone at last. Alone with a stranger. Luke Wright. I haven't seen him here before. Obviously not a regular. He hasn't said a word and just sits there, savouring his drink. With his whiskey served neat in one hand and lighter in the other, it doesn't seem like he's noticed me yet, and maybe I should go before he does look my way. Because he was pretty and he was a blonde, and those two things plus alcohol never did me any good. I thought too late. Judging by the way he flushed face and the dazed look in his eyes, he is as drunk as I am. But whereas I feel like leaning over, he looks like he's still ready to take the catwalk by storm. Really. He just has the air of one of those men who think they own the world. Hello there. Please don't stand up on my accord, I already like what I see. Fancy a drink? It'll be on me. But then again, I might be pleasantly surprised if he proves me wrong. Want some between the sheets? Sex on the beach? I'm talking cocktails, of course. Fat chance. But it doesn't matter, we both know how to play this game. And there are two different ways on the night to end. One thing or another is going to happen. The question is, what do I do? Oh no, that's fine. I'd rather order some blue balls or some AMF if you don't mind. He looks like he's about to say something witty retort, but stops himself and downs the rest of his whiskey. I order a mint, whatever that says. I don't drink alcohol, that's why I don't know how to pronounce that. He gets another whiskey, and we start with customary small talk. Of course, the saying, ask me no questions and I'll tell you no lies, goes without saying. We ask nothing about each other, offering up falsehoods to establish a strenuous, fake connection between two strangers at a pub if only to pass the time. Whiskey, as I have come to call him, is something 21-year-olds, single, take care of his sick mother and is a manager of some sort. Manager of what? I don't care to listen to the details. Meanwhile, Mint, as he has come to call me, is 29 and I'm... what did I say I was again? Oh yes, I told him I was a professional chocolate taster. Because blanket, if I'm going to lie about what my job is, might as well make it fun. It's a pretty decent chat between two pretty drunk strangers. And maybe it's just me, but we might as well expand the tiniest amount of effort in pretending there's something meaningful in this meeting. Would have been nice too if it was just left at that. But during a lull in the conversation he brings it up. You know, I've never been with a woman taller than me. And to think he might have been different from the rest. Never have and never will, Whisky. Can we go back to the history of chocolates? Did you know that chocolate candy was introduced in 19th century England as a healthy alternative to alcohol? St. Lucy was the most beautiful woman of her time. She had a man come from the four corners of the world just to see the pure light of her exquisite green eyes. If she was so lucky anyways. No, enough of a history lesson. Come on, Mint. You know and I know what you came here for. Though not every suitor was gallant, and she was no fool, she had known that sooner or later she wouldn't have been able to defend her, whatever that says. Come on, there must be something that gets you going. So she had taken out a knife and gouged out her eyes. There is something, but I don't think you can handle it. Impressed with her devotion, God restores her eyes and made them more beautiful than before. He has a peculiar sense of humour, hasn't he? Because that only meant suitors kept going after Lucy, and she kept her eyes in a chalice to scare them away. Oh, I'm pretty sure I can handle whatever it is. Saint Lucy, help me. Help me turn away from sin. Help me with my own blindness. My place isn't too far away from here. I won't take care of you if it ends up being too much for you. And no one will be able to hear you if you try to scream. You sure you want to go down that road, pretty boy? Wouldn't have it any other way. Right. Okie dokie. Marianne went to the Cruel Bar, but also called the Galway, now by its patrons, for a night out with her close friends Kim and Haruna. When they left, Marianne was seen with a stranger whom she only referred to as Whisky. In turn, she was called Mint. Lovely as it was. The best thing about having my condo so close to a pub is the ease of access. As long as I can still stand and walk, I can make it home. Maybe I needed help from a kind neighbour or two to help me with the last leg I really needed gone overboard on the alcohol. But I always make it home, sometimes with company. course, that always comes with complications, especially with the real cleany ones. But it isn't anything a good tap about stalkers to the building security can't fix. I'm always nervous though, even if this isn't the first time I've done this. And the first few minutes when I enter my room are the first few agonizing minutes where I try not to panic. Okay, Mac, so far so good. Don't let him smell your fear under all that liquid courage. He'll leave sooner or later, and I'll never have to see him again, just like every other man before him. You won't be more wrong than you are right now in the future. I'd like to say to myself that the men I've brought to my place were more scared than I was. Yet there was no fear when I looked into Whiskey's eyes. Only delight. When he starts touching me, I don't even hesitate when I push him against the door. Roughness is to be expected. Oh gosh, I can see where this is going. And as long as he sticks to the script, everything will go smoothly. We'll have our little tumble in the sheets. He'll leave. We'll forget about it. If somebody asked what I really wanted, I would have told him that I wanted a bed of roses, chocolate and music, maybe in an Irish castle. But all I really want is her. And that's never going to be a reality. That was my fault, of course, because I was so afraid, because I was a coward. They would never hold a candle up to her. She was the light of my life, and I had never let her go. I can't even be bothered at the thought of her. Just the single thought of her makes my resolve to see this affair through waver. Wait, what is it now? Yes, what is it now? Let's see, where did we start this ordeal? I believe it was the first save point, I believe. Yes. I'm still trying to think whereabouts I saved from. Never mind. This is Ron. We're both drunk, and this is Ron. Don't you think it's a bit blanks up what we're about to have? Okay, and we're just calling each other by the drinks that we had? How messed up are we? Doll, shut up with the ethics and morality talk. It is seriously putting me out of a mood. If you want to leave now, Whiskey, I understand. I mean, with how smashed you are, it'd probably be the best for you to sleep at night unless you want to be mugged. Relationship goals. More? Okay. Great. Marianne's not very friendly with anybody here. Though this was more of Isabella's decision. But I won't stop you, and this ain't going to happen. Bloody hell. Cockblock! What an achievement! Of course he's annoyed at me for putting off our night of sexual congress. But no means no, and beyond spewing a few profanities under his breath, he surprisingly simmers down soon enough. I was worried for a moment that he might try to force something. Instead, he makes a show of fixing his suit and smoothing down his hair, before making himself comfortable on the nearest seat he could find. What are you doing, Ben? You have a guest in your home? Put the damn kettle on. Dandelion tea if you have it, but I suppose all you have are these tea bags from the store. If it isn't for the absurd of this turn of events, I would have flipped him off for thinking I have no taste, but in the end I just laugh. All I got are cans of Korean Genghis and lemon balm though, no dandelion. Without a second thought I do wet the tea. There's 3 minutes to get the kettle to a boil. 3 minutes where we say nothing to each other. I mean, what do you even say to the guy I was going to sleep until I changed my mind? I doubt he's in a mood to talk about the influence of Tories of Mallory. It's still unusual by the time we're both seated on my bed with mugs of tea in hand. So just so you know, whatever's going on right now is a lot stranger and blanks up than the one night stand. We are two messed up individuals by your logic. Everything gets messed up if you ask me. War, terrorism, famine, okay. Loved ones and loved losses. This whole world is a cell ball. The dead air is telling me when it fills the room once more. One would think that this is the perfect time to burst, to spill about whatever issues that made us the blanked up person that we are today. And it is, but I guess some part of me would rather not put the weight of my problems on somebody else's shoulder. Excuse me. It wouldn't be fair to leave that to a person when I don't even know if we'll ever see each other again. Sooner rather than later, we both pass out on my bed, mugs left forgotten on the floor. When I wake, whiskey is already gone. A bottle of painkillers and a note on the table are the only evidence I wasn't alone last night. I don't even question where these are from, or just know how we know my real name. I'm just grateful for someone to help with the hangover. Something to help with hangover, sorry. Might as well. What a commotion. Marianne and Whiskey went back to her condo after having one too many drinks. However, Marianne changed her mind about the one-night stand and ended up sharing tea with him instead. The next morning, the stranger left nothing but a note and a bottle of painkillers. Well, he was kind about that, though. Might as well. I have a job to do. October the 22nd, Saturday. It isn't often that I think about drinking on the job, but after meeting with the Wrights yesterday, really makes me want to break my self-imposed rules. Because first off, damn whiskey for damn Mr. Wright. And to top it all off, they had somehow forgotten to inform me that they didn't own the Ermengarde Mansion yet when they hired me. But what sort of person does that? Ugh, rich people. I could do nothing but twiddle my thumbs at this. However, twiddle my thumbs and wait for the go signal. It isn't like I can accept other smaller projects. This is a big job and I should be ready to start at. Okay, my reading's gone off course again. I should be ready to start on it at any time. Not to mention that my PA, I think personal advisor, practically begged me to be patient and wait this out. It was a hard decision to agree, but I did so in the end. Besides, I'm doing this for the Ermengarde Mansion, not for anything or anyone else. I had a headache or whatever I do anyway. I'd go to the pub again, but seeing what happened a few days ago, I'd rather not end up in bed with another potential client. And it might be a big leap in logic, but library's the next best thing after the pub. I have to go there anyway. I need more books. For Dad. Plus I also need to return the ones I borrowed last night. Finding a new book or two to read for myself while I have nothing to do isn't such a bad idea either. So on a Saturday morning I find myself going to the only library in Nuxburn to hopefully cool off. After returning a blank and a poetry book by Henry of Podbury, I don't know how to pronounce it, I asked the librarian about the several titles on my list, though I don't have much luck on that front. Dialogue with Death has already been snatched, and she bluntly said that she did not keep our mathematical universe for someone who didn't return books on time. I made headway at least. I asked about Siege and didn't know how to pronounce it, of Havana by didn't know how to pronounce that name either. If you count her snarling and pointing at the history section as headway, that is. The history section is devoid of anything other except for myself and a redhead. Though I wager a guess that Red's just passing by to get the classical literature section. So many books, so little time. Scanning the books and seeing so many wonderful titles gives me great pleasure. And that's when I spot it. Hello, sailor. Why don't you come to Mama? History of Luxburn Architecture. Nice. It's not the naval battle book I was looking for. No, it's even better. The newly acquired History of Luxburn Architecture, first edition too. I knew I just have to get it. I've been waiting to get my hands on this book for so long. The fact that there's only one copy proves to be a problem though, when Red reaches out for it at the same time I do. I think I had this first, miss. I can only stare down when she refuses to let go of a book. Refusing to let go of it as well, I raise a brow at her in the hopes that the fact that I was significantly taller than her would intimidate the girl, even though she refused with a rebellious look. This isn't exactly light reading, miss. I mean, do you even know what architecture was at the forefront of 18th century Irish architecture? A beat. She blanks, and I can't help the smirk on my face, which is wiped off when she opens her mouth. Edward Loveit's part, I don't have to pronounce it again, who established the Palladian style through the work with Castletown House and the Irish Houses of Parliament. This bridge was destroyed in a year to delay French troops, while under the regency of Mary of Guise. This is not what I was expecting. Let's be honest, how many people would know these history facts? Aside from me anyways. Going right to your obscure ones, are you? Easy enough. For goodness sakes, too many big words in here and too many complex texture. So I'm just going to read from Scotland of the January of 1560 if we want to be specific. Suddenly it's a game where we throw the history questions and facts at each other, back and forth in hushed tones unless we want to be thrown out of the library. And after a while it goes for some strange competition into this strange but friendly banter, if it could be called that. But as fun as it is, the exchange soon slows down until we're grinning at how odd this whole scene is. Marianne, my desire for potatoes doesn't quite match what the stereotypes suggest. Rebecca Gales, the Scots' supposed hatred for the English wasn't enough to stop me from teaching their little spawns. By then we had forgotten about our little tug-of-war, although she still holds the book in her hand. I had let go of it without realizing when she answered my first question. History teacher then. Got it in one. No wonder you gave me a run for my money. Now, if we're talking about architecture, I'll blow you out of the water. You're from where? Luxburn Uni? Oh no, just St. Goretti's. And yes, St. Goretti. You think a school would choose a more appropriate saint to name themselves after, especially when they have very young students. And I'm guessing you're an architect, if you're so confident about the subject. Interior designer, Miss Gale, sorry. Please just call me Rebecca. You aren't one of my students, are you? Marianne, then. I could have said that I was in architecture, but there's no point explaining why I wasn't one anymore. So I've never seen you before. I like to think I've met every history. There's so many complicated names in this game, so many complicated words in the dictionary. I don't know how to pronounce these, and actually some of these I've never even heard of before. Show space and respect for people who don't know how to pronounce certain words properly, sorry, but some of the comments I've been getting really are pretty mean in town. I blame the rock I've been hiding under, of course. That and I'm usually only here on the weekdays if time allows. Work often has me meeting clients on the weekends. That must be interesting work. It allows for some creative freedom, sure, but it's like working with children sometimes, though you probably have it harder working with actual children. The hardest part is convincing them that your idea is their idea. That sounds exciting. It is. But isn't that true for any workplace? We just cross our fingers and hope there aren't any man-children in charge of important things. Any big projects right now, I can't imagine that interior designing is a frequent thing. I'm working on the Ermengarde Mansion. Lucky me, that mansion, long touch, wonderful, breathtaking. I can't wait to start on it. Now, that is beautiful architecture. A pause. It looks like she wants to say something at my mention of the house. I'm not surprised. That place is certainly popular with the locals, especially with the urban legends attached to it. In the next second, though, she seems to think better of it and drops when she's about to say, So, do you have a portfolio or anything I could look at? I'd love to see your designs. Maybe you have some on a tablet. I've met some designers before and they're always going crazy over the virtual room apps or another. A tablet, please. Blank didn't need those silly eye tabs when he built the... Again with that. I certainly don't need one to design a house. The computer back at my place is all I have. Why should I buy such an expensive gadget that will just go outdated within a year, when what I have is just as functional? For traditional ways have far more personal touch in my opinion, not to mention those smartphones are awful tools of procrastination. I can't even count on one hand the number of people I see going out only to have their eyes glued to the things. And touchscreens, they're evil things that make typing what should have been a simple task harder. I can't agree with that. On those one of those button phones, there's only so many things you can do. Oh, imagine those old phones. Imagine emergency, trying to dial 999. You know, by the time you rang 999, the person who is in emergency is beyond emergency and probably dead. I do have an online portfolio if you'd like. I can't. Speaking or thinking of the devil seems to have summoned it, because before I could even carry on, Rebecca's attention wanes as she pulls out her mobile. For what I can only assume is a call, she gives me an apologetic look before she's standing up and excusing herself, or further into me as she goes, for some privacy. I do my best to give it to her as well, trying to tune her out. Betty, is something wrong? Lunch at the coffee house? Sure, I can make it. I'm not too far. I can be there in 10. But with how quiet the surrounding is, she can't blame me if I overhear snippets of her conversation. When she returns with a sheepish look on her face, I know that our friendly chat has to come short. Sorry, I have to go and meet some friends. It's fine, totally fine. No need to even apologize. About the book. Her embarrassment increases twofold when she realizes she's still holding on to the history of Luxborn architecture. I don't give her time to think about it, as I put a hand up and shake my hand, fishing out a pen and paper for my bag along with one of my business cards. I hand them over to her. You know, I'm busy with work, so I might not be able to take a peek at it anytime soon. You can go ahead and have it, but you have to ring me up when you're returning it, so I can snag it right away. Deal? She makes quick work, pinning her number down and handing it back to me with a grin. Deal. Just message me during school hours, of course. You have a good day, then. You too. With Rebecca gone, I'm left alone standing in the history section, although my original plans were simply to sit down and read a good book. Our little pop quiz, if you call it that, made the time pass by without any of us even realizing it. It was fun, and I do believe I made a good friend. Good job, Marianne. Even with the talk of lunch, however, I don't feel like grabbing a bite to eat. There are still other books to be read here, and I'm hoping to find something that will help me while I work with the Wrights. Something like how to deal with arseholes professionally 101, just in case. Or another one might be how to deal with rich pricks who are always up their own arses. Anyways, I've dealt with a lot of uppity, snotty and rich clients before, but it's still better to be safe than sorry. Because Luke Wright just takes the cake, and he probably manages to eat it too. It seems the world is conspiring to keep me from me time as my mobile vibrates in my pockets the moment I find something from the shelves of the classical literature section. Miss Cooper, Marianne, Trio Rose Designer speaking. Rose Cooper here. Miss, I hope I didn't catch you at a bad time or anything, but I just want to check in and tell that we've got the clear to hand over the documents. Madam Wright told us we should forward the floor plans to you. Already? How did they go through the process so fast? Surely there are so many red tape to even acquire the forms and the transferring of rights. No matter how rich the rights are, it shouldn't be this quick, right? So, if I could just have your email, I'll be sending them your way. I'd actually like a physical copy of the floor plans. Oh, I suppose that's fine. I'm not at the office right now, but I can inform Miss Santos of your request. I'll make sure to drop by the office after lunch, if that's fine. Not a problem, right. Well, cheers. Right, cheers. I don't know, I just don't. Is there some sort of deeper miscommunication when we last met? those things that time. So, these things take time. It's been what? A day? Less than that even. There isn't even a point in trying to make sense of these people who seem to be larger than life. And it looks like I'm on the clock starting today. I might as well eat. Okay, that's all going to be for today, folks. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I have. And we shall see each other on the next time of The Letter. Have a good day and take care of yourselves.